Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into something fundamental, product management.
Yeah, it's everywhere, isn't it? Behind almost every product or service you use.
Exactly. Think about, your favorite brands, the apps on your phone. None of that just happens. There's this whole strategic process, this engine guiding things from an idea right into your hands.
And that's product management,
Okay.
essentially.
Right.
And for this deep dive, we've gathered some really great material to kind of get under the hood. We'll look at what it actually is, how it works inside and outside a company, different organizational setups.
And how it even changes depending on the industry, yeah.
Exactly. The goal here is to give you a clear picture of what good product management looks like and why it's so crucial for success in the market. And hopefully, without drowning you in jargon.
Okay, sounds good. So let's start at the beginning. At its core, what are we talking about? What is product management? Our sources seem to describe it as this whole life cycle thing.
That's a good way to put it. It's conceiving the product, planning it out, actually developing and testing it.
Then launching, delivering, and eventually withdrawing it from the market.
Right. It's the function within a company that's deliberately, proactively managing that entire journey.
So it's not just reacting, it's planning ahead.
Precisely.
Okay.
And effective product management sees products, goods, or services as profit-generating systems. Mini businesses almost.
Many businesses within the bigger company. That's interesting. So it's not just about the thing itself, but its whole financial life, too.
Exactly. Revenue, costs, growth. Thinking about it strategically ensures it lasts.
Yeah.
The alternative, well, it's kind of like flying blind. You might build something nobody wants.
Which happens, and that's where the real value comes in, right? Moving away from just gut feelings or, hey, this seems cool.
Yeah. It's about grounding decisions in solid knowledge of your customers and the market. That really ups your chances of success.
Makes sense. You mentioned it looks both inward and outward.
Yeah, that's a key distinction. There's the internal focus inside the company. Think product teams, senior management, the processes you have in place.
Okay.
And then there's the external focus, everything outside. Your supply chain, how you distribute the product, the markets you're in, your competitors.
So all these factors, internal and external, they actually shape how a company decides what to build and how to get it out there.
They absolutely do. They influence everything from definition to development to delivery. You have to understand both sides.
Can you give an example, like maybe that coffee company you mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
How would they balance internal stuff with external trends?
Sure. So internally, the product manager needs to know, say, what coffee beans the sourcing team can reliably get and what that costs.
Okay, the practicalities.
Right. But externally, they also need to watch the market. Are people suddenly asking for, I don't know, single origin beans? Or maybe cold brews, the next big thing.
Right, changing tastes.
Exactly. So the PM has to juggle. Find a new blend or product that fits what the sourcing team can handle and what customers are actually asking for. You ignore one side, you've got a problem.
Got it. That makes sense. Now, thinking about how this function actually fits within a company, you said there's no single way it's structured.
No, there really isn't a one-size-fits-all model. But what's interesting is a trend our sources point out.
Which is?
More and more often, product management is reporting directly to the top, the CEO, or maybe the president of a specific business unit. There was even a Forrester research survey backing this up, saying it's pretty effective.
Why is that? What's the significance of reporting directly to the CEO?
Well, it signals that products aren't just features or, things engineering builds. They're seen as core to the company's strategy.
Ah, so it elevates the role strategically.
Exactly. That direct line means quicker decisions, better alignment between the product vision and the overall company goals. You can react faster to the market.
But does that create issues? Like, if product management reports straight to the top, do other departments, say sales or marketing, feel sidelined?
That's definitely a potential pitfall. It's crucial, really crucial, to keep things collaborative. Even with that direct reporting line, good product management relies heavily on input from everyone: engineering, sales, marketing, support.
So it's not about ruling by decree.
Not at all. The best companies set up structures where those voices are heard, even if the final call on product direction rests higher up. It's about ensuring all perspectives are considered.
That leads nicely into this idea of checks and balances. It seems like good product management isn't just about pushing the next big thing.
Right. It's about finding a balance. You've got short-term needs, hitting sales numbers, keeping current customers happy.
And then you've got the long-term view, the health of the customer base, the market position, the organization itself.
Exactly. And product management needs some autonomy to make those trade-offs effectively. They need the space to make the best overall decision, even if it ruffles some feathers in the short term.
And getting that balance right, company needs, customer needs, market realities, that's the sweet spot for success.
That's where you want to be. It's about strategic choices for the greater good, not just pleasing everyone all the time.
Okay. Now, our sources also bring up Linda Gorchel's model, upstream and downstream product management. Can you break that down?
Sure. Think of upstream as the more strategic, future-looking part. It's about the initial vision, building the roadmap, developing the new product, and leading it right up through the launch.
Okay, the beginning of the journey.
Right. Then downstream is more about what happens after the launch. It's the ongoing management, the day-to-day stuff, supporting marketing and sales for the product that's already out there.
So upstream creates it, downstream nurtures it.
Pretty much. And you see this split in practice. Like GE Healthcare, they might have upstream teams for global strategy and new launches, and downstream teams handling the marketing and support in specific regions.
Beckman Coulter, too, right? They use strategic versus tactical managers.
Exactly. Same idea.
Yeah.
Strategic is upstream, tactical is downstream.
But when does that handoff happen? Is it always at launch?
Not necessarily. It really varies in, say, very technical fields. Heavy R&D might be considered upstream, and the handoff happens right before commercialization.
So downstream takes over for the actual selling and support.
Yeah. But in other areas, that transition might happen earlier, maybe once the initial R&D is done and the project to build the product really kicks off.
So again, no single best way. It depends on the company, the industry.
Exactly. It's about what works best for their specific situation.
Okay. Let's shift gears a bit. How does the company's own stage, like startup versus mature company, affect how product management is set up? That must make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. A huge difference. Think about startups or early growth companies. Speed and flexibility are everything, right?
Definitely.
So product management there tends to be small, very hands-on, lots of direct customer contact. Often one person, maybe a tiny team, wears all the hats from idea to launch. Structure is usually flat, not much specialization.
You need generalists who can move fast.
Precisely. Then, as the company grows, becomes mid-sized, things get more complex. You need to manage that growth.
So you need more people.
Often, yes. And you start seeing more specialized roles emerge. Maybe someone focuses just on requirements gathering or technical specs or coordinating the cross-functional teams. The org chart gets bigger. You start putting processes in place.
Specialization starts to creep in.
Right. And then you get to the large, mature organizations, the big players.
How does it look?
Well, the focus often shifts. It might be more about protecting market share, finding growth through improving existing stuff, or maybe acquiring other companies.
Less about brand new invention, perhaps.
Sometimes, yeah. Or the innovation's more incremental. The product management teams are usually larger, more structured, and you see a high degree of specialization. Experts in very specific product niches.
But didn't our sources mention some big companies that kind of buck these trends, like Google or Microsoft?
They did. It shows there are always exceptions. Google, for instance, has that structure with a VP of products over other VPs for specific sectors, ultimately reporting to the CEO.
And Microsoft.
Microsoft often uses a team approach, a product manager, a program manager, a product marketing manager working together, and their structure can be quite layered before you get to a senior VP.
And Facebook, even though it's huge, has a director of product management reporting right to the CEO, especially relevant for SaaS companies, maybe.
Yeah, that direct line in big tech like Google and Facebook often reflects that SaaS model needing rapid iteration, constant updates, product deeply tied to the core business strategy.
So these examples really drive home that there's no single correct structure.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
The key questions a company needs to ask are things like, what's our main goal for product management here? Where's the best strategic viewpoint for our PMs? Who makes the financial decisions? And how do we measure if those decisions worked?
Those are really practical questions. It seems like success often comes when PMs report to someone who gets both the short-term pressures and the long-term vision.
That balance is critical, which kind of leads us to the relationship between product management and general management. They sound similar in some ways.
They do. General management covers the whole business, right? Strategy, planning, organizing, staffing, execution, delivery. The whole works.
Exactly. And product management can mirror a lot of that, but focused on a specific product or line. A PM might do strategy, planning, worry about revenue and cost for their product, work on marketing, sales channels, delivery.
So acting like a mini GM for their product.
In many ways, yes. But there's a crucial difference.
Okay, what's that?
Authority, mainly.
Okay.
A general manager usually has full P&L responsibility. They own the budget, the financial outcomes, and they typically have people reporting directly to them.
Right, direct reports.
Product managers, on the other hand, usually operate more through influence. They work with teams across different departments where they don't have direct authority.
Ah, so they need to persuade and collaborate, not just direct.
Exactly. Influence is a massive part of the job, aligning everyone around shared goals without formal power.
That's a key skill.
Huh.
Okay, what about managing goods versus services? Our sources touched on that. Are the fundamentals of PM different?
Well, the specifics of how you market or deliver might change, obviously. A physical good is different from a service experience.
Sure.
But the core marketing objectives, identifying customers, satisfying them, keeping them playing fun, those are pretty consistent. And our sources suggest that many fundamental PM methods and skills actually apply across the board, regardless of industry or size or whether it's a good or a service.
So there is a common foundation, even with all the variations.
It seems so. But then we get into those industry variations and also how mature an industry is. That's where you really see different skills being emphasized.
Okay, let's look at some examples. What about consumer packaged goods, CPG, like food or cleaning supplies?
All right, in CPG, things move fast. You need to be nimble, react quickly to trends. So PMs there focus heavily on effective innovation, getting products to market fast, building that brand recognition, keeping costs down.
And making the consumer experience great.
Exactly. It's super competitive.
What about finance, banks, insurance?
Often structured by product lines, mortgages, credit cards, etc. A huge factor there is regulation. Compliance is critical.
So PMs need help with that.
Yeah, they often have subject matter experts for the regulatory stuff, letting the PM focus more on the customer needs and delivering the service within those rules.
Okay, hospitality, hotels, restaurants.
Project management skills seem really valued there. Lots of planning for things with shorter life cycles like seasonal menus, special events, promotions.
Right, lots of distinct projects. Healthcare, that seems complex.
Definitely. Think pharmaceuticals, medical devices. Often a science background is really helpful, plus the ability to navigate very strict regulatory pathways. That's essential.
Makes sense. Manufacturing with global supply chains and all that.
Yeah, PMs there need to grasp innovation demands, work effectively with teams that might be offshore, manage complex supply chains, deal with pressure for short development times.
And use real-time collaboration tools to spot problems early.
Exactly. Early problem detection is huge.
And software development, similar pressures.
Very similar in some ways. Like manufacturing schedule slips are a massive headache in software. Hitting deadlines is critical.
Telecommunications, another fast-moving tech sector.
Absolutely. Time to market is paramount in telecom. PMs need to rapidly match customer needs with what the company's tech can do. Pricing and licensing are also really key strategic issues there.
Okay, and finally, what about really mature industries? The example was tobacco.
Yeah, in industries like that, often dominated by a few big players after consolidation, product management might be more structured. The focus shifts towards managing and optimizing the existing products, maximizing profit from them, rather than radical new growth.
Less focus on disruption, more on efficiency and maintaining share.
Generally speaking, yes.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it's clear product management isn't just one thing. It's got many facets, guides products through their whole life.
And while there are core ideas, how it's actually done, how it's structured, what skills are needed most, that really varies.
Depends on the company size, its maturity, the industry it's in.
Right. But underneath all that variation, the fundamental goal seems consistent. Understanding the market, understanding the customer, and serving those needs strategically. That's what effective product management boils down to, whether you're a tiny startup or a global giant.
Well said. And maybe that leaves us with a final thought for you, our listeners. Considering all these different ways product management works, these different industry flavors, what principles do you think are truly universal? What absolutely has to be there for product management to succeed, no matter the context?
Yeah, something to mull over. What are those non-negotiables?
Definitely food for thought. We'll leave it there for this deep dive.